And
Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to something else. Something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matata, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Genie, and you're listening to something else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
Degenerates and reprobates, welcome to episode 201 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes on this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling and World Class Championship Wrestling from June 9th, 1984. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Murray Franks to my Reeser Bowden. It's Trae. Trae, we both sound a little more awake and alert today when we're recording the show.
Right, weird. It's well, I think it's daylight outside. I have blackout curtains in my office, but I believe there's a little bit of daylight slipping through.
I say it's daylight here in Massachusetts, so odds are it probably is in Texas too.
Yeah,
So
we're recording during daylight hours, which is very unusual for us.
yes, and it's not because like, oh well, the sun is up until 8 o'clock now or anything, which I mean it kind of is, but that's not the reason why. It's because I
Yeah.
got to wake up at the ungodly hour of 3 a.m. tomorrow. So Trey agreed to thankfully record the show a little earlier. So
Uh, is uh
maybe.
is there Japanese wrestling on at 3:30 or what's happening tomorrow?
You would be the one to know that, but no, I'm driving my friend to the airport in Providence, and I'm picking her up at 4:30 to take her there. So,
Well, that is a
you
very
know,
good friend. This
I
is
know.
yeah. And I woke up at 2 a.m. today to watch Japanese wrestling, so
I was gonna ask if you watched Dominion.
I did.
How was it? I mean, I read the results. I know that the consensus is it was a good show.
Yeah, overall, I would say a thumbs up. There were some things that maybe aren't my most favorite creative choices, but I liked the stuff that I liked more than I disliked the stuff that I disliked.
There you go. Was it the House of Torture stuff that you disliked?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. It's just it's never gonna be for me, and it's just I feel look. I am a big fan of Gedo as a booker when he was kind of at his peak. He had certainly earned his Observer Hall of Fame induction as a booker, but it's been, let's see, about 15, 16 years since he and Jado started booking New Japan. And I think it's pretty much just been him since that little Jado sojourn to Noah in about 2015. And I am sure that Jado still does like some crossing the T's and dotting the I's stuff, and I believe if my knowledge is too good, I think Dick Togo still has a lot of input with the House of Torture stuff. But overall, it's just been Gedo booking this territory for 16 years. And absolutely nobody under any circumstances should be booking the same territory for that long.
No, they should not. And I promise this isn't going to turn into a bash Triple H uh commentary, even though it's kind of bashing Triple H. You know, I I'm not saying for people to temper their enjoyment of WWE right now. If you enjoy WWE, great. I'm happy for you. I want you all to remember NXT from like 2019 and 2020 when Hunter had been booking NXT for like 9, 10 years at that point. Or actually, it was less because NXT started in 2012 as the developmental. So you've been booking for 7 or 8 years at that point, and you know like, yeah, fine. The matches were still really good. But if you go back and watch some of those angles, watch some of those storylines, they were really not that great come the turn of the century or turn of the decade, excuse me. So, but yeah, it's like that's the point though. It's like every booker, no matter how good, no matter how great, you burn out after a while. Um,
Yeah.
and you know, even if you're a
And
fan of Vince Russo out there, yeah, like you cannot say that Vince Russo in 2011, after he'd been booking, or writing WWE, WCW, and TNA for 13 years at that point, was as good, for lack of a better word, as it was in 1998.
to quote Ernie Ladd in reference, I believe, to his time booking Mid South, that ever so often a man needs to go away and wring out his brain.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Um,
I'm
but
okay.
um, hmm?
We're into year 6. I'm worried about what AEW is going to look like in year 10. If
Oh yeah, I was trying to
Yeah,
avoid mentioning that part, but yeah, it's um AEW I mean, even if you're the most die-hard, hardcore AEW fan out there, I think everyone can kind of admit that they have their ups and downs, especially when it comes to the booking. And I think TK needs to spread out a little bit, like spread the wealth around a little bit, because you hear it, it's like he's still working full time with AEW. He's still doing full time with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's still doing full time with the soccer team they have. You know, one person cannot do all that without crashing. And he's doing a great job of not crashing yet, but he needs to start spreading the responsibilities out. And, Daniel Bryan or Ryan, Jesus Christ, it's been dead to Bryan years. Bryan Danielson is apparently helping him out. It's like, you know what? Maybe you need to take 3 months off. Maybe you need to take 6 months off. Just
yes,
go
a
go
year,
wring your
just
brain out.
6 months, a year.
And
Look, like what,
that
and
even
we can talk all
even
about
Mhm.
the folly of a committee, but even like, what about like a committee with like, I don't know, Brian Danielson, Jeff Jarrett, and Rocky Romero to just kind of keep the ship
Yeah,
afloat?
there you go. And even if Brian Danielson, Jeff Jarrett, and Rocky Romero turned out to be the worst booking team of all time, AEW isn't dying in 1 year. You
Right.
know, so it's like the worst that could happen is that the show is no better than it currently is. You know, but
Yeah.
so by the way, since we're more awake and more alert, maybe we won't get comments on this week's show like the lovely person who told me this is awful on
Oh
last
yeah,
week's show.
we talked about that last week.
We didn't talk about it on the show. We talked about it on whatchamacallit.
Did we not?
We talked about it on Facebook.
I thought we talked about it on whatever the last show we recorded was.
I'm pretty sure we didn't,
Oh,
because
well.
I could be wrong. Who knows? But um, and anyway, somehow that episode has 214 views. Do you ever notice our show? Like sometimes it'd be the most random shows we do that like jump up through the roof when it comes to viewership.
Some people just like awful things.
There you go. Um, so I was a dumbass over here. So uh, f- uh, when the hell was it that we ended up getting a week off? At some point, we went from being, the same day back in '84 to being a
Uh,
week off.
it was April
And
Fools.
oh yeah, April Fools when we did the Corner Gas episode. Um,
Yeah.
and so we've been a week off ever since then, and there'd never been an issue until this week when I watched Mid South. I then went over to my World Class folder and I watched an episode of World Class. And I don't know why, but when the show ended, I was like, did I watch the right show? Like I wrote June 9th, 1984 on my notes, but did I watch June 9th, 1984? So I clicked on the June 9th, 1984 file, and no, I did not watch the right show. I watched next week's show. So I had to, after recording tomorrow's TNA show with Cindy, which, by the way, another shit show of all shit shows. Then I had to watch this week's World Class after I watched next week's World Class. And there's going to be so many comments I make next week that just won't make sense anymore. But oh well.
Uh, Maybe I'll make it better though.
Yes. Um, so we're gonna start, of course, like we do every week with Mid South. We're gonna have a little bit of a longer intro because they're gonna pitch it to a Butch Reed video. But it's Boyd and JR.
Welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of exciting action coming up. We promised you we'd show you a match between Brad Armstrong and Ted DiBiase. We'll be able to do that this week. And action in the ring we'll see from Charlotte, North Carolina, Poplar Jay Youngblood as he takes on Mr. Wrestling number 2. A lot more great matches, a lot of specials to show you. The man to tell you about it, the knowledgeable Jim Ross. Jim?
Well, Boyd, thanks very much. And ladies and gentlemen, very auspicious in their absence. The Junkyard Dog or Hacksaw Butch Reed are neither here today on Mid-South Wrestling. Their issue has gotten much out of hand. Mid-South Wrestling thought it would be very appropriate for them not to be here today into where we could have some type of confrontation. It's going to be a very serious thing that will be settled very soon. We do have compliments of Joel Watts, a great piece on Hacksaw Butch Reed. He's training, he's getting ready, and Hacksaw Butch Reed is getting ready for the Junkyard Dog. And let's see what Hacksaw Butch Reed's doing at this time.
I want you to take a good look at a prime specimen. This is USDA prime cut beef. The one of those people always talking about, where's the beef? Well, here's the beef, baby. Take a good look at it. This is an athlete. Not only an athlete, but the best of all athletes. You know, you talk about you are, and along with your people too, I got to say that you are the best black athlete of all times. Well, let me tell you what I think about that, lapdog. Let me tell you what I think about that, Uncle Tom. That's a lie. That's a lie. You are living off past history, boy. This is 1984. This is not 1974. And there's a new day. It's a new year, and it's a new man. Butch Reed, the best in his class, the best of all. The best black athlete, JYD. You have to be ashamed, boy. Black athletes has always excelled in all sports pursuits, you understand? They've always been the best. But here is the best in the West, right here. And let me tell you one thing, lapdog. You know, boy, I'm tired of you. I know you've been running from it. You done left Mid-South. You done been on vacation, living a good life. Done got fat and nasty and greasy, out of shape while I'm here. I'm working. The harness is still on the workhorse, boy. The bit is still in the mule's mouth. You understand? And I'm in shape, and after I get through whooping you, JYD, after I get through putting a good old country, ghetto style street whooping on you, boy, I'm gonna run you out of town, tarred or feathered, painted with a yellow streak up and down your back, which you always are, and you'll be two things at once. You'll be the yellow-bellied cow that you are, and you'll be the big chicken, the big bird. You get ready, JYD, because somewhere in the near future, boy, you gonna run into these bones again that every dog needs to chew on.
All right. So, by the way, Boyd is wearing your grandmother's bingo bag this week. Turns out Trae was right, kind of. Because I thought, as we mentioned last week, that the Ted DiBiase Brad Armstrong match was going to be live here in whatchamacallit, the arena here at the
Irish Media
Boys Club. Yes. And Trae accurately predicted that it was not. He thought it was going to be in Atlanta because he mentioned it was for the national heavyweight title. But we'll talk about it later. But it is a pre-tape match on this
It is,
pre-taped show. It's an
but it is
extra
not from.
pre-tape.
It is not from the Omni.
No, it is pre-taped from Oklahoma City, actually.
A myriad.
Um, yes. And then we have what's referred to as an excellent piece on Butch Reed put together by Joel Watts. And you heard the promo he cut, and it was interspersed with him lifting weights and punching a heavy bag, and generally speaking, training for his for the big match coming up in the Superdome.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know what the deal is with my audio setup. When I was watching this, I could not understand what he was saying very well, but when you played it just now, I could understand it fine. So, I'm guessing
But
that's an issue with my sound mixing.
we'll see how there's something that happens later on in this show that I actually pulled a Peacock just to see how it came across on Peacock. To and we'll get into that obviously later on in the show. But so yeah, Butch Reed training hard for his big match with the Junkyard Dog. They don't say it, but it's a ghetto street fight coming up in the Superdome. Um,
Yeah, okay,
and
yeah, I recognize the term.
yes, it's basically just they have a street fight. And it's this was June 7th. It's or sorry, June 9th. June 16th. So next Saturday is the Superdome show. Um,
So it is a ghetto street fight at the Superdome.
yes.
See, if it had been at the downtown municipal auditorium, then it would be a ghetto street fight. That's a terrible joke.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say like it took me a second, by the way. So I mean, so that was everything you need to know. Um,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me. When I move on to the next life, whatever that may be, my epitaph is just going to be sorry for all the bad jokes.
so I got a question for you, Trey. Who the
Okay.
fuck is Murray Franks, and what is he doing on my television?
I don't know, but I fucking love Murray Franks immediately. Him and his terrible fucking haircut.
Him and his terrible fucking announcing.
It Okay, his announcing was on point. I'm sorry. Fuck you. This man was an amazing ring announcer. He was
Where
enthusiastic. He was happy to be there. He said all his shit right. He has a southern accent. So you think he's shitty, but he's not. He did fine. And he was enthusiastic. And I fucking love Murray Frank. He just needs to get a haircut from a barber and not his mom.
Everything you said about Murray Franks was true. He was certainly a very enthusiastic young man. Um, and I have no idea where the hell he came from because I tried Googling it, and the only thing I could find was other people talking about this show.
Is this his
Um,
only time?
I don't know,
Oh,
but like
oh,
when I put it in, yeah.
I wanted him
I
to
was
be
like,
a permanent fixture here.
where the fuck is Reeser? Reeser's been
Uh,
missing for like months now.
Maybe he went to Nebraska to go hunting or whatever boy did that time.
I think I say maybe he went to a farm upstate.
Oh,
Um, so anyway, our first match, Buddy Landell versus the Alabama Junior Heavyweight Champion Mike Jackson. Landell raked Jackson's eyes and won with a twisting elbow drop.
um,
It was certainly a
so
competent opening match.
this was a nice little enhancement match that happened in the background. While I was trying to figure out the flags in the background, are those new? Is this the first time I'm noticing them?
I did not notice them.
Okay, so it got my attention because on first glance, I thought what my brain said was the first Confederate national flag, but what I eventually realized was the former Mississippi state flag that was the Mississippi state flag until 2020. But yeah, they have it was all the flags representing the states of the Mid South area: Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma.
I'll be honest, I did not notice that. I will have to keep an eye out for it. Maybe It'll be like you noticing the new logo at the beginning of the show. By the
Do
way,
you not have
speaking of,
you
well,
not have an interest in vexillology? Vexillology? What's the word?
it's not my thing usually. By the way, did you notice they went back to the old backdrop? The blue backdrop that just
Did
says Mid-South Wrestling in block letters?
Oh yeah, they did, didn't they?
I literally
I
just
recognized
noticed
it and
that now.
understood it.
So
Yeah.
really, um, but yeah, anything about this lovely match other than the flags hanging up?
It was fine. It was Buddy Landell and Mike Jackson. It was fine while it lasted. They can do a competent 3 minute match.
Yes, they can. All right. So we've discussed this a number of times that when Mid-South goes to commercial, what they have is like they'll put like a plain black screen with either the replay of the finish of the match you just watched, or sometimes they'll show up like a beefcake photo of Terry Taylor sometimes. And then underneath it, they'll tell you what is coming next after the commercial break. Well, going to
Hmm.
commercial, they informed us that coming up after commercial was quote unquote JYD is special.
He sure is.
I giggled and just because like I think a couple things. The fact that like JYD is special, like what a weird thing to write. And then like and I know they do this all the time with fake names or names that sound like they're not going to be your real name, but the quotes around JYD, like JYD is special.
At least it wasn't JYD is special.
By the way, that's the title of this week's episode.
Is it?
Yes,
JYD is special?
JYD is
Oh.
special with the quotes
I
around the
had a
special.
I had a couple of options, but that's a very good one.
Um, all right. So remember when Butch Reed was training for the big match by lifting weights and hitting a heavy bag? Junkyard Dog is
Hey,
not doing that. Let's go to Jim Ross and Boyd, who are going to pitch it to a video of JYD preparing for the battle of his life.
Well, Boyd, in the Junkyard Dog's preparation for the showdown match of his career with Hacksaw Butch Reed, Joel Watts has produced an excellent video of this. This will be the Junkyard Dog's battle for his life. This will be a culmination of a 2-year struggle with Hacksaw Butch Reed. Now let's look at the intense preparation by the Junkyard Dog.
You know, there's a lot of things that's been happening throughout the Mid-South sports. And I know a lot of people expect for me to be laying home and laying on the beach, not taking care of myself. But I know things have been happening. The pain, the struggle, the embarrassment, the things you've done to other people in the Mid-South area, but not only myself, but to our people, to other folks' people, the way you talk to the people. I'm going to tell you something, Butch. First of all, if I have to stoop so low to start doing the things that you do, maybe I'll just do the opposite. Maybe I might do the paint after this match. Maybe I'll do the tar and cover. Maybe Junkyard Dog put you on the rail and run you out of town. But I don't want it to be like that, Butch. Because I call myself a decent human being.
Okay. So Butch trained for the match by hitting a heavy bag and lifting weights. JYD trained for the match by standing shirtless in his yard cutting a promo.
well, what is the proper preparation for a ghetto street fight?
I I mean, I guess I don't know. There's no you never wrote your official pro wrestling rule book. So I don't know
It's
the
on the
official way.
list. It's on the project list. It's just a long-term project.
Um, so yes, they really shot this out in his yard with cars driving by behind him. The only thing missing was somebody honking while they were driving by. And I gotta say, I wonder if Stagger Lee was in one of the cars that were driving by him.
Was any of them a Cadillac? I would assume Stagger Lee drives a Cadillac.
I believe most, if not all of them, are trucks.
Well, he's got a farm truck, I'm sure.
And by the way, yeah, looking at Murray Franks right now, there are a lot of flags behind him. I think those are new. I'm guessing it's I mean, if it's Mid-South putting them up, I imagine it's kind of their nod to like, the
Yeah,
NWA would have the flags in the
yeah.
background. But it might just, I don't know, like I don't feel like it would just be the Irish O'Neill Boys Club hanging up
No, it wouldn't.
random flags of
I
the
mean,
states in the area.
the flags of the states of the Mid South wrestling area were probably touched by Mid South wrestling. I would assume.
Yeah, more than likely. You wonder, like, because I mean, I guess I don't know. Do they take the ring down, between tapings? And if not, do you think, like, whenever people go to the Irish O'Neill Boys Club, do they ever get in the ring and have to be yelled at to get out?
I I'm sure they didn't leave the ring up, but I don't know.
I, I don't know if there still are, but at least, back in the quote unquote back in the day, there were other rings in like uh on the floor. Like they would pan to the crowd and you'd see rings in the background.
Oh, hmm, that's neat.
Yeah, indeed. Very neat indeed. Uh we then get Bad Bob Owens, who looks like he's wondering who the fuck Murray Franks is, versus Sonny King, who I thought was close to breaking. Um what's it called? It was a quick match. King wins with a headbutt when suddenly a man appeared.
Hey
Turns
man,
out, but
yeah.
yeah, Buddy Landell apparently he scoured the Mid South locker room since Butch Reed is not here this week, and the people he found to attack Sonny King are Pete Martins and Pat Rose.
And Sonny King kicked both of their asses.
Yes. Who's Pete Martins? I don't know because he's not going to be on the rest of this show. Um, definitely. I will say a newcomer here to the Mid South region.
A brand new company.
Yes. Poor bad Bob Owens. He had to do the job, and then he wasn't even. Buddy Landell had such little faith in bad Bob Owens that he had other jobbers on standby ready to run in.
Bob Owens did badly.
Yes, I guess they never specified what bad meant in regards to him.
That's true. Well,
All right.
at least
Well,
his son ended up being a better wrestler.
let's go to what we call it, Murray Frank to the introduction of our next match.
The next bout is 1 fall or 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, a combined weight of 455 pounds, Buddy West and Mark Reagan. Hey, buddy. Thank you. Let me have it. Beaver Cleaver, I'd know you anywhere. Television sets all over the Mid-South are coming on right now. As you people are privileged to see, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Here they are, the only men in wrestling who can kickstart a 747, Loverboy Dennis and beautiful Bobby, the Midnight Express.
Did nobody alert Murray Franks that Jim Cornette was going to come take his microphone?
Even Murray laughed when Cornette called him Beaver Cleaver.
He did not have the anger that Boyd Pierce gets.
No. Murray Franks is just happy to be there.
Poor Murray is like he was not letting go of that microphone. It was like this story of the Tennessee Commission, or was it the Kentucky Commission, that wouldn't let the wrestlers get on the mic, and Cornette's was the ring announcer and trying to tell the Iron Sheik about the commission, and he's like, "Fuck the commissioner."
That is what the Iron Sheik would say.
Yes, indeed it is. All right, so we got the Midnight Express versus Buddy West and our good friend Mark Rajan. And this match was quite simple. Mark Rajan ran into Bobby Eaton's elbow. Eaton dragged Mark Rajan into Mark Rajan's corner and forced Mark Rajan to tag out to Mark Rajan's tag team partner, Buddy West. I am finding this way too funny. This is why people think our show sucks, I guess. Mark Rajan's tag team partner, Buddy West, who is not Mark Rajan, Midnight Express and hit the high-low on Buddy West for the win.
Yeah, this was a midnight squash against guys that they didn't trust to do anything complicated, so they just beat their asses, and then they beat them with the old high-low.
The push for Mark Grajan is apparently
Didn't even last as long as Lanny Poffo.
nope. At least Lanny Pop also got some promo time. Poor Mark Grajan did not. And I don't know how long Mark Grajan will be here, but yes, I will keep saying his name that way until he's gone. And when he does leave, it'll be a very sad day, perhaps the saddest day in Mid-South Wrestling history.
Will you remember when he comes back?
I will remember you. Will you remember me?
I 100% associate that song with the Mick Foley video package the night after the Hell in a Cell match at No Way Out 2000.
I thought you were going to say associate it with the great Khali screaming yes.
I am Stooge.
I'm Stooge.
Lick, lick, full bike of the high.
He was abandoned at the Red Robin. To this day, I could not tell you what he really said if it wasn't I was abandoned at the Red Robin. Because that's what it sounded like. We then got Mr. Wrestling 2 versus the debuting Jay Youngblood. Now, I mentioned, Jay Youngblood is in and out of the territory. However, they built him up so much, well, ish, that I'm a little surprised his debut match was against 2 here. Because 2 was not going to lose this match, and sure enough, he didn't, even though Youngblood eventually Indianed up, and but 2 stole my finish that I was going to have. If I was ever a pro wrestler and I ever finished training, this was going to be my finish, and 2 stole it. Sweep the legs, put your feet on the ropes.
Well, I bet it would work again.
It has been 40 years. Yeah.
I
told my trainer that, because he was like, he at one point, this is like, he didn't have me do it because I, again, couldn't take a bump, but he was letting everyone run in and hit a move on each other. And he said to me, what would your finish be? I'm like, I don't know, scoop the legs, put my feet on the ropes. He's like, why? I'm like, why would you ever book me to win? Because the trainer was also the booker. Like, well, why worry about a finish if you don't think you're ever going to win a match?
Did Boyd really say that this was our television main event?
He did, and I mean, if you look at the rest of the card, what would it have been?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I was trying to remember because I feel like we talked about Jay Youngblood on the show, but then you said they hyped him up, but then I can't remember where us talking about Jay Youngblood begins and us talking about Jules Strongbow begins.
You confused Jay Youngblood with Bill Strongbow. So Jay Youngblood, they had a video package like a few weeks ago. They had like a match of him in Charlotte.
I will say, by all meaningful metrics, Jay Youngblood a much better wrestler than Joel Strongbow.
Yes. By the way, notice the Misters Wrestling don't care about the Rock and Roll Express stealing their accoutrements anymore.
Hey, so 2 or 2-2, not 2, other 2. He wants a shot at the North American title, but he got pinned in a title match last week.
Yes. I mean, New 2 got pinned last week. Classic 2 interfered and caused shenanigans.
This was 2-2, right?
Yeah, this was Hercules.
Yeah, okay. Look, there were flashes of this that were mildly interesting, but on the whole, this was pretty dull.
Indeed. Indeed. I don't know how much longer he's going to be Mr. Wrestling too, because I'm pretty sure he's Hercules Hernandez really, really soon.
That was the first thing I wrote. How much longer is he going to be Tutu?
Yep. Especially because, like, I mean, to me, it's obvious they're turning original two babyface again, which is
Yeah.
kind of weird that they would turn him heel and then turn him face so quickly. But oh well.
Well,
Um,
when you know the context, you understand why.
well, we then get the Rock and Roll Express versus Barry O and Pat Rose. Um, I wonder if Pat Rose has had his chance to get his payment from Budrow from earlier yet. Hopefully, he insisted on cash because I think Budrow's the kind of guy who would cancel the check.
I hope he got it up front because after his performance, I wouldn't give it to him.
I mean, there's no proof that Buddy Landell didn't just go to the locker room and take the money out of his bag. So hopefully, for Pat Rose's sake, he had it stuffed down the front of his tights or something.
Yeah, well, the old trick is that you put it in your boot, right?
Sure. But I mean, I guess wherever you're going to put it, it's still got to be itchy. But I mean, it's kind of off to be walking on your money. Um, so yes, this is. I mean, they didn't call him Barry O. They called him Barry Orton, and this is in fact the same Barry O from the WWF, who's Randy Orton's uncle, and never gets acknowledged because of his role in all the accusations of the early '90s, and he's not superstar Billy Graham. So
He is not.
yeah.
He,
Pat
I
Rose got a near. Hmm?
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Pat Rose got a near fall on the taller Robert Gibson, according to the announcers. I'm not sure who the shorter Robert Gibson is, but Morton pinned O with a sunset flip. So both Rock and Rolls in the Midnights are winning with different finishes this week.
You didn't even notice what I was fixated on for the entire match.
I did not. What were you?
Maybe this was just my video being weird, but I swear, and it's not like these aren't like 1080p. Like these were filmed in obviously
They're not.
1984 on videotape. They are not.
Huh.
I swear Robert Gibson had a little wisp of a mustache, and I was just fixated on it the whole time.
I'll be honest, I did not notice that.
And
I apologize.
that was what I wrote that I wanted to suggest the episode title Mustache Hoot.
It's time for Robert Gibson's mustache. It's time for Robert Gibson's mustache. That was Robert Gibson's mustache. That was Robert Gibson's mustache. So then we get the true main event of the show, a film of a match from Oklahoma City on May 27, 1984, between Ted DiBiase and Brad Armstrong, where they're not even acknowledging the fact that Ted DiBiase lost a loser leaves town match here last year. And by the way, Ted DiBiase lost a loser leaves town match, and unlike that sore loser Junkyard Dog, he doesn't come back under a mask pretending to be somebody else.
Because Ted DiBiase is a man of integrity.
Yes, he is. He would never walk out on a territory with zero notice and go to New York. So,
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
so Trey, I've got a question for you. Why is it when Brad is announced as Armstrong, he's cheered, when Roderick Strong was called Next Strong and he was booed?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I thought that. By the way, I want to acknowledge just because I happened to see it on Twitter earlier. As we record this, today would have been Brad Armstrong's 63rd birthday.
I thought you were going to congratulate Will Ospreay on his engagement.
Oh, yeah! Congratulations to Will Ospreay and Alex Windsor on their impending nuptials.
Yes. Windsor was to a the global. Any thoughts on that?
Hello. I got none
Okay,
of
great.
that, and I was.
Uh,
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I said Alex Windsor. I don't know how often she's ever brought into AEW, but she did a job to, I believe, Athena on the Global Wars show back in February.
Yeah, she's been around ROH a little bit. She's done some New Japan USA shows. Actually, just challenged Shuri for the IWGP Women's title in Pro Wrestling Eve in the UK. So she's on the fringes of that whole thing. I think she beat her man to Arena Mexico by a few months because she was there a couple of months ago.
Poor Will Ospreay, poor bastard. Um, so this was okay. This is what I was talking about earlier when you were talking about the audio issues earlier. How did you hear what Bill Watts was saying at all on commentary?
Not a word. Not a
Okay,
word.
good. Good, because that was my version too, where it's like the crowd volume was so high that they didn't level it out and you couldn't hear Bill at all. Like you could like kind of hear him like way in the background, but it was like,
Yeah.
you couldn't hear him at all. Um, so I don't know where Lawler came from, but I wrote Lawler won. Jerry Lawler did not win this match.
Uh,
Um, Ted
as a classic
DiBiase.
Lawler, so I think I've seen Lawler do that same finish though, right? That's a classic heel finish.
I mean, I called it the Randy Savage heel finish because I
Yeah.
saw a lot of like mid '80s Randy Savage house show wins with this finish, where he get picked up in the back suplex and the heel has the brass knucks in his hand and he punches you in the head
Yes. I
and
love it.
you get pinned. It's a simple
I love
finish.
I love that spot.
Um,
Uh
so so out of curiosity, I did go pull up this episode on the cock, and I know you'd be shocked to hear this, but WWE's production is a lot better than mine, and they were able to even the volume out enough that you could hear what's better with an
that's good.
asterisk. I mean, it was only, it was what it was. Um,
So
so, sorry, go
you
ahead.
don't notice it as much later because Brad's hair gets so long. He looked kind of like Kenny Omega, but here with the shorter hair, he looked just like Bob.
Kenny, by God, Omega.
Yeah.
But by the way, I got no idea what the hell happened with him and Okada on Wednesday. I turned the show on for like 30 seconds, and Okada and Don Callis were running through the backstage area as if Callis and Omega had just stolen just stolen the AEW title and announced they were going to be on Impact next week. Um,
Uh, it was
and
in fact a very violent, felonious assault that they perpetuated upon Mr. Omega. He was violently just spewing blood from internal injury. So I don't know how he's gonna fucking work Arena Mexico this week. Well, he's not. He's not.
much
I don't know
much
how he's
less
gonna make
much,
it to All In because
yeah.
he's got to be in critical condition after that coughing up blood. That's not good for you.
I mean, it's a good sign for Hangman Page and Moxley because they're not going to have to follow Okada Omega 5, you know?
Yeah, I
But
would be worried about that. I would, yeah.
yeah. Um, so from here, let's go to JR and Boyd, and they're going to pitch it to a Magnum TA video package. And I want to see if you made the same note I did with the intro to it.
There's been a lot of great North American champions. Cowboy Bill Watts, of course, was a great North American champion. Dick Murdoch was a great champion. Paul Orndorff's been a champion. Some of the great people. Ted DiBiase was a great North American champion. Skandar Akbar was a champion at one time. But Magnum TA, the current North American champion, has really captured the hearts of the people in the Mid-South area. We have seen him truly develop into a superstar right here before our very eyes, right here on Mid-South Wrestling. And Joel Watts has produced just a fantastic piece about Magnum TA. There's a lot of great athletes coming after him. Ted DiBiase, Hacksaw Butch Reed, Mr. Wrestling 2. Everybody wants a chance to go for the championship. And so right now, let's hear Frank Sinatra with a little help from him and My Way. Let's take a special look at Magnum TA.
So whose Cheerios did Paul Orndorff piss in? Bill Watts was a great North American champion. Dick Murdoch was a great North American champion. Ted DiBiase was a great North American champion. Magnum TA is a great North American champion. Paul Orndorff was the North American champion.
That's been a lot of champions.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if everybody's a great North American champion, then nobody's a great North American champion. But poor Paul Orndorff still facing the consequences of beating the shit out of Hacksaw Higgins that time.
Well, you know.
That was before you were here, right? Was that Paul Orndorff Hacksaw Higgins match? Where
I
Hacksaw,
think so.
yeah, Hacksaw Higgins, like this is like I doubt he'd had 20 matches in his life at this point. He couldn't run the ropes. He couldn't go up for Orndorff's finish. He kicked out at 3.1 and then no sold Orndorff's finish. And so, like they tried to quickly cut away to commercial, and Orndorff full kicked him right in the face after the match. Oh
Poor
Lord, I shouldn't
Hacksaw
laugh at
Higgins.
poor Hacksaw Higgins, but yeah, sell the guy's finish. Um, so okay, let me know what you think. But they show this music video, and there's a way to do this where "My Way" by Frank Sinatra was a Limp Bizkit would it may have been a good option for this music video. I thought it was a really bad choice for this particular music video because, like, it was basically it was basically honestly a recap of the Magnum TA Mr. Wrestling feud. Like they're showing like them sitting like that time they're sitting at a desk with Reeser and they're all in their nice suits and it's like and I did it my way and the weird training videos we got and all that shit. Um, and it's like I was laughing at like watching TA sitting at a desk patiently listening to Frank Sinatra. Uh,
Okay, I'm gonna take a radical stance here on this here podcast.
a radical stance.
Oh, a
So
radical stance.
you thought Chris Benoit should have stayed with WCW and dropped the title too, huh? Oh, different
He
radical.
offered. That wasn't his fault. Don't make me defend Chris
No,
Benoit.
I'm not. I was just like, you know, you thought Dean Malenko should have stuck
What
around
was
to
I
see if they put the
saying?
tag titles on him. You were gonna take a radical thought about this music video.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah. Well, not about this music video. This is a bad music video, and they should have just replayed the one with the Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. But I'm gonna take the stance that My Way by Limp Bizkit is a better song than this Frank Sinatra song. I don't understand the appeal of this song.
honestly, if it wasn't for it being Pat Patterson's karaoke song, I don't know when I ever would have heard of this song. Because like I don't think I'd even heard it for years. I just knew that when Pat Patterson did karaoke, he sang My Way.
It's not a good song.
It's really not, but yeah. By the way, so WWE obviously they're not going to pay for Frankie Blue Eyes here, uh, for Peacock for a Peacock version. So since I was already watching Peacock, and I'm like, I wonder how they cover this up. Like, what atrocious WWE automated theme did they put over this video? They just edited it out entirely. And the funny thing was, they edited it out, but they kept in the up next a special look at Magnum TA thing that they went to commercial with. And so like they basically said up next a special look at
Well,
Magnum TA, and then we got JR telling us about the popular girl wrestlers who are going to be here in 2 weeks.
I can't believe we got such low effort from whoever put the song "Bad Karma Cowboy" over the video package of David Von Erich a month before he died.
Oh boy, I can't believe you knew that song. Um, But yeah, so in 2 weeks,
Oh,
the Popular Girl Wrestlers will be here. And also in 2 weeks, you thought we saw the end of it. I thought we saw the end of it. I was hoping we saw the end of it. But nope, in 2 weeks, we will get a feature on the winners of the Super Date at the Superdome contest.
oh, joy. I'd be so disappointed if we didn't. One more stupid note on songs. So earlier during the Junkyard Dog, the video that they showed to show the Junkyard Dog's intense preparation was to the song "Somebody's Watching Me," and even if I know the song and artist, I'll often hit the Shazam button on my phone just to make sure I'm getting the title right when I write it down. And so I had a very dumb series of thoughts that led to, okay, Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell. Wait, I could have sworn that song was by Michael Jackson, which led to me looking up and confirming that Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell does in fact feature vocals by Michael Jackson.
We're proud of you for putting in that much effort onto this week's show.
Well, you can say a lot of things about this podcast, but you can't say it's low effort.
Very true. Also next week, Magnum TA versus Killer Khan, who doesn't have a "the" in his name in Mid-South for the North American title. And actually, Killer Khan lost the "the" entirely because he doesn't have it on World Class either.
So now he's not the Killer Khan, he's just a Killer Khan.
Yes. He's like the tax man. He's not the tax man, he's a tax man. A tax man.
Now, was Erwin R. Shyster a tax man, or was he the tax man?
There's only a tax man. There's lots of tax men. Not all of them walk around in red suspenders and a red tie and perform in professional wrestling matches, however.
That should be the uniform for tax men.
Well, is the white shirt uniform? Because at one point he had on a blue shirt, like at the very end of his run.
Okay, I see that in my mind, but I see that as like VK Wall Street.
No, because VK Wall Street, he wrestled in the singlet with, like, I think the dollar signs were on it, if I remember correctly. But I'm pretty. One second, stupid cough. I'm pretty sure and who knows why the hell you'd ever want to watch this, but King of the Ring 95, when they do the pre-show match with him and Savio Vega for the qualifying match for the King of the Ring, I'm pretty sure he was in a blue shirt.
Okay. How do we get on the subject of IRS's shirt?
I made the corner gas joke about a tax man.
Oh, okay, a tax man. Okay. Yes. Okay. I guess we got to talk about this fucking World Class show now. I have so.
If it helps,
play the Stella Mae segment and wrap this bitch up.
If it helps, we're probably gonna be done this one pretty quickly. Let's go to the intro of the show. And Bill Mercer's back. Hooray!
Welcome to World Class Championship Wrestling from the world famous Sportatorium in downtown Dallas, Texas. In our tremendous main event, a tag team match that'll shake the rafters of the old Sportatorium. It features one of the fabulous Freebirds, the big one, Terry Gordy and his Oriental Spike, teaming up with the man who took him to the source of the Oriental Spike. It is the monster from Mongolia, Killer Khan. And the other team, that exciting young man, Iceman King Parsons, with his team partner, the gentleman from England, Chris Adams. I'm Bill Mercer. Great to have you along on World Class Championship Wrestling. You'll also be seeing Chief Strongbow and gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. But first, we take you back to last week and Kevin Von Erich and Michael Hayes in the match in which Kevin Von Erich was attacked by Gordy and Killer Khan. That's next on World Class Championship Wrestling.
The sweetest words on World Class Television. Encore match. Because that means we get to skip 10 minutes.
Yeah. It was very welcome.
Yes. I will never complain about being able to skip 10 minutes of this program. So Bill Mercer is back, and tonight God damn it. What the hell?
All right. Do I need to start talking?
I swear I'm not dying here.
It was very awkward because I had it I had it paused so I could hit my Iranian tobacco vaporizer, and then all of a sudden Arya started dying, so I had to very suddenly start talking, and I'm just gonna keep talking until I don't fucking know what's happening.
Okay. You can keep talking as long as you want. I don't mind. This is a podcast after all. But tonight we have a tremendous main event. It's a tag team match that will shake the rafters of the old Sportatorium. And I got a spoiler for you. Bill Mercer is lying. This match does not shake the rafters of the Sportatorium.
How dare you? How dare you impugn upon the integrity of Bill Mercer?
Even though we do in fact have the big one, Terry Gordy, and his Oriental Spike, and Killer Khan versus that exciting young man, Iceman Parsons, and the gentleman from England, Chris Adams.
He is a gentleman from England.
Yes, he is. How old is Iceman Parsons here? I think his birthday was recently too. Yeah, June 11th. So he's 33, about to turn 34. So not old, but when you think young man, like you think like somebody in their 20s. But anyway, that's our main event. And then we get
he is still alive. He's 75.
He is.
How about
I told
that?
you his birthday was recently.
Very glad to hear that.
He could still give you she calls that the rear view.
Can we get him on the show, you think? Does he still live in Dallas?
I mean, I can't imagine why we couldn't have him on the show. And here's something for you. His real name is King Parsons.
That's amazing.
I mean, when you have a name like King Parsons, you do not need a ring name, I guess.
No, why would you?
Nope. So after a replay of last week's main event, which we were able to fast forward to the 10-minute and 32-second mark, we go to Bill Mercer, who is outside waiting for Stella Mae French.
I'm Bill Mercer, waiting for the arrival of Stella Mae French, who's agreed to give us an interview today about her association, her past history with Sunshine. And here comes Stella Mae, rolling in here to give us an exclusive interview on World Class Championship Wrestling. We'll find out about Sunshine, her life, and her plans for the future. Well, Stella Mae, tell me right now about your association, your relationship with Sunshine.
Her name is not Sunshine. Her name is Valerie, okay? I've raised Valerie since she's been 3. I promised my sister I would do a job for her on raising her. I would take over the responsibility of her. I raised her up through her high school years, elementary. She was 2 years in college, and she met Garvin. Now, Val was an honor roll student. She was going to have a beautiful career. And I'm sure that any parent, any guardian out there can understand what I'm going through, seeing Val as she is today. Garvin's hurt her physically. He's hurt her twice as bad mentally.
Where is she now?
I don't know. I have no idea. I've tried. I've hunted for her. I've made calls to people that she's associated with here, and I can't find her. She's called me before wanting money to come home on. I just can only hope that maybe somehow she can get a hold of me.
What are your plans now?
My plans are to get Garvin. I don't care. I have no idea how I'm going to do it yet. I know that I'm going to dog the man. He's not going to know where I'm coming from. He's not going to know when I'll be. I don't care, basically, what I do to him.
Now, you've tried to get him in the ring, and they've warned you can't do that ad lib. Do you have any other plans?
No. Yeah, well, you could say I have another plan. I've asked Chris Adams if I could take Sunshine's place. I haven't got an answer. He has to go to the commission, and he has to go to different people here to find out if it's possible. So I'm going to try and take her place. And I'm going to tell you right now, Precious and Sunshine had a little bit of a disagreement. Well, if Precious don't stay out of my way, I'm going to go through her. Because she's nothing. Garvin is the one that I'm after. Is it okay if I say something to Garvin? Under the impression he watches this all the time. Garvin, take a look. On the way to the arenas, you might see this behind your car. If it is, you better get out of my way, because, man, I'll go over you. If it takes me to go to the arenas, Garvin, I don't care how I get you, but I will. You've known me back in Florida, and I'll tell you right now, I'm going to hurt you, one way or the other. You're mine, Garvin.
Thank you, Stella Mae French. You're on World Class Championship Wrestling.
Okay, I'm torn. Was this a great promo or not?
Okay, the promo that was just blaring out her cursing was better.
Yes, I did right. Last week's promo was better. This week, there's still something charming to Stella Mae French cutting a promo. Because, like, and isn't she like? It's not like she's a brand new wrestler. She's a veteran wrestler, right? Like, I seem to recall she has like a history in the ring.
Does she? She was
I thought she did.
too. I don't know. She was too calm here. I don't know. It works better when she's kind of crazy.
She threatened to run over Garvin. Then she threatened if she doesn't run him over, she's gonna take a big ass piece of wood and hit him with it.
And yeah,
And
by the way,
then
she was a wrestler, according to Cage Match, at least back to the early 70s.
so by the way, she she couldn't make up her mind whether Valerie was Sunshine or Valerie because she tells Bill Mercer she's Valerie, and then like half the promo she's like Sunshine, Sunshine, Sunshine. I'm like, okay, you're killing your own gimmick here, Stella Mae. Um, and now this week we don't know where Sunshine is. Wasn't she institutionalized last week, or am I fucking losing it?
Well, we were told she was institutionalized, but we don't know where, or just she doesn't know. Somebody knows. Jim Ross knows where, apparently.
I guess maybe.
I'm led to believe.
And this is 1984, and she's asking for money to come home. In order to get money to come home, we need to know where to send it. Because even with Western Union, you need to know which Western Union to send it to, if Western Union's even a thing in 1984.
Western Union's been a thing going back to like the 1880s at least.
Okay. Well, I like the idea that Sunshine is calling Stella Mae to ask for money to come home, but apparently won't tell anyone where she is.
Can't just sell her some money here in 1984.
Apparently not. Apparently not. Zell may not have been a thing in 1984.
Western Union, or the New York and Mississippi Valley Printing Telegraph Company, was founded in 1851, before becoming the Western Union Telegraph Company in 1856.
You know, it is the fastest way to send money worldwide. Or as it used to be, anyway.
I think Zelle is faster now.
Yes, my landlord appreciates Zelle.
Yeah.
And she may or may not have a plan for Garvin. Who knows? But she has asked Adams to take Sunshine's place. I'm assuming that means in his corner. But, you know, Adams, I mean, I bet he's not in too much of a hurry, but Adams has to talk to the commissioners or whatever and get that approved.
And by that, I assume she means like the NWA commissioners, because I don't think there's a state athletic commission in Texas.
I would say there is. To this much, there isn't even one now, because like when I remember the one time UFC ran Houston, like they had to do all their own drug testing and all that. I don't know if they still are doing that now, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, if nothing else, Stella Mae French is definitely different and is
That's true.
bringing
She is different.
bringing new life to this never-ending feud.
At least there's that. At least it changed it somehow.
Yeah. Well, then we get our next match, or our first match for us. It's Max with General Skandor Akbar versus Chief Jules Strongbow. And apparently Max was very confused about Jules' headdress and how he just took it off. Max was confused, thinking that it was Jules' hair, but was not confused apparently that Jules' hair was just a whole bunch of feathers and what have you. Mercer calls Jules the Cherokee from Cherokee County. Thanks, Bill. Max was so upset that he gave himself CTE during the match. The finish saw General Skandor Akbar harmlessly minding his own business and getting on the apron to have a frank discussion with the referee, I'm sure, about the rules and regulations here in World Class, when Chief Jules Strongbow, ran over and punched poor General Akbar in the face. Max then attacked Jules from behind, and Akbar got in the ring for a 2-on-1, and it was apparently a DQ against Max, even though, I'm sorry, Jules should have been disqualified for this one, and Iceman ran in for the save. I actually had to look. Jules is going to be with us till the end of October, and then Max is here until January, and then comes back at the end of 85. And Trae is apparently somewhere to be found. I don't know what the hell's going on, but Trae, if you can hear me, you're allowed to talk anytime you want. Apparently Trae does not want to talk right now. I wonder if Trae's system is working. Trae, can you hear me? He is typing on Facebook. Trae can hear me. Speak now, Trae, or forever hold your peace. I think you should log out and log back in. Maybe that'll fix the problem. Do you wish that Trae could talk? I wish that Trae could talk. Okay, bye. Well, Trae's
Hello.
logging back. Yay, we can hear you
Hello.
now.
I should have figured it out I don't know, the second or third time I said something and you just kept talking.
I'm not that rude,
Yeah,
Um,
you'd think so.
you would think so. So what are your thoughts on
I
this stupendous match between Max and Jules?
This was a match that I spent multiple minutes of my life watching, and I'm never gonna feel okay about that.
3, as a matter of fact.
4.
Oh, wow, I thought it was only 3, but I'm so sorry. Well, let's go to a Jimmy Garvin promo. And Jimmy is, for some reason, looking over his shoulder and looking all over the place. I have no idea why.
Just Jimmy Garvin, are you looking over your shoulder now that Stella Mae French is attacked?
Don't be funny, Bill Mercer. I don't think the situation is funny. My opinion is the situation has gotten out of hand. It's not my fault that Sunshine turned out to be some big old fat slob and went goofy upstairs and had a nervous breakdown. That's not my fault. Sure. Now this Stella Mae, she used to be in an insane asylum, and she's crazy. The woman is crazy, and I don't trust her. I don't trust her one bit.
What are you looking around for?
That's none of your business, and you don't worry, I'm going to keep her away from you. It runs in the family. They're all a bunch of goofballs.
So says gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, looking over his shoulder. But let's go up to Mark Lawrence. He'll introduce our bout.
So I'm assuming Jimmy Garvin just saw that Chris Van Vliet interviewed Snitsky, and that's why he kept mentioning how it's not his fault.
He probably stumbled upon that when he was using the temporal ham radio to listen to our show.
I mean, Jimmy Garvin is a student of the game. We saw last year he was taping all of the matches. So it makes perfect sense that he would be using his temporal ham radio to go into the future and listen to what we thought about his performances.
Absolutely.
So apparently Stella Mae has also been in the asylum, so it runs in the family, I guess. And yeah, again, I like this. I like the new twist to this feud. Can't say I want it to go on for another 6 months, but you know, I'm happy that we're getting something different.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and you're right. It breathed new life into this, which is a good thing because I bet they were going to keep doing it whether they breathed any life into it or not.
Indeed. So then we get our next match, which is Jimmy Garvin, assisted capably by his valet Precious, versus young Tony Torres. Precious got in Tony Torres's face, and the crowd popped. And I was like, okay, where's Stella Mae? Because I'm like, Stella Mae is obviously coming down to whoop Jimmy Garvin's ass. But I don't know, the crowd just randomly popped for Precious getting in Tony Torres's face. I don't know. Anyway,
Fuck Tony Torres, I
they
guess.
yeah, they announced during this match that cities are bidding for the Texas Heavyweight Championship tournament. And well, I made a joke about this next week, or I made not a joke, but I made a note that I'd forgotten who the Texas Heavyweight Champion even was. Do you remember who the Texas Heavyweight Champion was?
I do, but not for any good reason.
Well,
Because I
it was
remember why
David
it's
Von
vacant. Yeah, I remember why it's vacant.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I remember who it was.
Yeah. So personally, like, all these cities bidding for this tournament, I hope Phoenix wins. I think Phoenix, Arizona is a good place for the Texas heavyweight title tournament.
I bet Houston's not gonna win.
I'm gonna bet no. I bet Paul Bosch, that lazy motherfucker, even though Gino is here in world class, I bet Paul Bosch isn't going to start sending in bids to get world class matches out there.
I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a wild stab in the dark and guess that the winning city will be somewhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex.
Man, oh man, Maddie, I don't know, man. But anyway, Garvin wins with a suplex because hey, why not? Like, anything can be a finisher if you beat people with it. Stella Mae made up for her awful promo by running in and attacking Garvin with the Polish hammer.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, I love this is one of the times I love Jimmy Garvin. Like, he's getting his ass whooped by like a 140-pound woman running in with the Polish hammer, and he's just selling it like, the end of the world is coming. David Manning Von Erich got in the way as Garvin fled, and I was hoping she would nail him, but unfortunately she didn't. But Adams ran in to calm her ass down.
Can we just get, if they did Stella Mae against David Manning Von Erich, I bet that would sell out Texas Stadium.
I would demand the finish of the time machine so I could go back in time and watch that. They might have to put two Pontiac Silveromes on top of each other for the number of people who want to see that show.
That would be the first thing that World Class did that we ever needed the time machine for.
Yes. First, last, and only. Maybe we could go back to see Fritz's heart attack, too. We could have been standing in the front row going, "Get up, you're faking it."
Yeah.
That was the same weekend as the last UWF show.
Oh, what a fucking week that's gonna be. That's gonna be the end. That may be the end of World Class.
I'll be shocked if we make it that far, to be honest.
I don't know. I don't know how we're doing it at this point.
I was gonna say I don't know how we're getting through now on World Class. I think it's just partially out of whatchamacallit, just out of habit, and then
it's a lot because Chris and Gedo.
Yeah, there's some good shit coming.
Yeah.
And we can't just fast forward and just watch Chris and Gedo. That would make too much sense.
Well, what kind of podcast would we be if we started reviewing a show and then just arbitrarily skipped ahead a large chunk of time? What kind of lazy, disgusting reprobate podcasters would we be if we did such a thing? Would we be?
I'm about to say we could be further ahead than other people in their Mid-South review if we just jumped ahead 3 months. Like, hey, they jumped ahead 3 years to get ahead of us. I'm still mad about that.
Cheating.
Yeah. So, yep. So, unfortunately, she did not beat up David Manning Von Erich. Then we got our main event, which is Terry Gordy and Killer Khan versus, as drunk Mark Lawrence called him, Christopher Adams and Iceman Parsons. Poor drunk Mark Lawrence, being drunk as always. It actually reminded me of when Reeser Bowden would introduce Buck Robley as Buckley Christopher George Robley III, but it was a lot less interesting. I go ahead.
What's that guy? He's like an indie guy, and he's done jobs on AEW. Michael Allen Richard Clark.
Sure.
It's like I don't. It's just really funny to me when like jobbers have ridiculous names.
Well, to be fair, Buck Robley wasn't a jobber.
Oh, was he not? Can we get a jobber
No.
with a ridiculous name just to amuse me?
Sure. But yeah, don't call Buck Robley yellow or a jobber. Although that wasn't on a t-shirt of his. So who knows? Maybe he would let you call him a jobber. I don't know. So yeah, I missed the first several minutes of this match because I was busy hunting down Reeser introducing Buck Robley because, it's Reeser. I could either watch Reeser or I could watch this match. And odds are this match will happen again. But the Monster from Mongolia got the heat on Adams. Parsons got the hot tag and immediately got cut off by Khan. Like, I don't even know if he got in a piece of offense before being cut off. Parsons then got the second hot tag to the refreshing Chris Adams. We had a super kick party followed by a double lift on Gordy, but Khan wouldn't allow the double lift on him. Gordy heaved Parsons over the top rope for the DQ. After the match, Khan did the top rope knee drop to Adams and went for the thumb, but Parsons ran in with a chair. A woman in the front row was literally jumping up and down over the result of this match.
Yeah, this was the point where you had asked me how soon we could do the show, and I said I'd be done with World Class in about 20 minutes. And then I had to watch this match, and it was fine. And then actually, like by the end, they were going toward this being pretty decent, and then they did the worst finished ever and rendered it worthless.
Yep, indeed. I'd say this feud must continue, but this isn't a feud, which makes you wonder why we couldn't just have a winner and a loser.
Well, like in New Japan, where they do like maybe guys aren't necessarily feuding, but it's kind of a long-term thing that they come back to. That's it's just I'm going down a road where I'm going to compare Ken Mantell and Gedo, and despite my frustration with Gedo, I'm not going to disrespect him to that degree.
Poor Gedo, being compared to Ken Mantell. Is Gato's brother going to appear on New Japan one of these days and getting like a weird push where he never wins, but he never loses either?
Nah, Jado gets pinned all the time.
Well, Jado is in his brother, is he?
No, but they've been together for like ever, so it's like they might as well be.
Yes. But all right, so that does it for World Class. Did you notice the woman in the red shirt jumping up and down in celebration?
I didn't. Was she as excited about this top rope DQ as I was angry about it?
She was happy about the winner of the match, more so than how they won.
Well, good enough.
Yes. By the way, apparently, according to the always reliable Wikipedia, Iceman Parsons is semi-retired, appearing from time to time with a few independent promotions in Texas.
Oh,
Um,
really? Oh, I got to get out there.
yes, yes. Apparently on September 1st, 2008, Parsons teamed with Marshall and Ross Von Erich to defeat, wow, this is a team, Tatanka, Kid Cash, and someone named Arrow Club Coyote.
That sounds sensational.
Yes. I like that Marshall and Ross Von Erich don't have separate Wikipedia pages, but I guess that's better than Arrow Club Coyote, who doesn't have one at all.
Oh, justice for Arrow Club Coyote.
Yes. We're pouring one out for you, Arrow Club Coyote. And now I'm expecting you to know who this person is because you live in Texas, and even though Texas is a big ass state, you should know all of the obscure indie people in Texas.
When was that match?
2008, and Coyote, according
Okay,
to the. Mhm.
I did not move to Texas until 2015.
So 2018, excuse me, I'm sorry, because
Oh,
So not
well,
that match, but I looked up Arrow Club Coyote, and someone did post Arrow Club Coyote and Kid Cash versus Ross and Marshall Von Erich.
oh, that sounds fantastic.
Our new favorite wrestler, Arrow Club Coyote, and apparently
We should do.
he was on a TNA show apparently too. Um,
Oh, how about
it
that?
was it was on one of those one night only shows in 2017. Um, Apparently, it was they went around the horn with this match. The Von Erichs defeated the Arrow Club, Coyote, and Kid Cash. And
We should do a mini spot show and watch the Von Erichs against Kid Cash and Arrow Club Coyote.
apparently, Arrow Club Coyote just kept wrestling because then he wrestled Jake Hager on the same show. We need to
Man, you can.
search. We need to search out this random one night only show from taped in 2017, possibly aired in 2018. The
Okay.
LAX defeated the Young Guns.
The LAX. You remember when
That's that. That's what the
when Scott
results on Wrestling
Steiner
Inc. say.
remember when Scott Steiner was like ring announcing and he just called him Lax?
I don't remember that part. I remember all the other ones, like, saying that Team 3D hailing from Dunkin' Donuts and Make Believe Muscle, Petey Williams. Gotta say that was a clever line, Make Believe Muscle.
Aw, especially since he inspired little Petey to get pumped.
Yep. And even though it was more Jonathan Gresham, but in a way he convinced Jordan Grace to get pumped too.
Oh, well, how about that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were a weird three-person team for a little while.
I was trying to
So
find I was trying to find you said he wrestled Jake Hager on a TNA show?
according to WrestlingInc.com, it was an Impact one night only When Worlds Collide pay-per-view taping from October 21st, 2017. The
That is
matches
really
include
weird
what's that?
because well, I'm on Cage Match and Jake Hager does not have any matches for TNA wrestling.
I mean, I don't know. I can only say that go to his 2017 results and see what it says for October 21st.
October 21st, 2017. Hold on.
Yeah. Because apparently it was a cross-promotional effort with a company called Imperial Wrestling Revolution. So maybe it's listed under them.
Okay. IWR When Worlds Collide 2. Jack Swagger defeated Kai Ote. It's KY dash OTE.
Ah, okay then. Well, Kai
Also known
Ot had a busy night.
also known as Coyote Joe Kyote Joe Hamid, Joe Harrell, Armani, and Phoenix.
Not that Phoenix, though.
Not that Phoenix, presumably. Oh, Eli Drake defended the GFW Impact World Title against Montego Sika.
Yes, I see that here. And the main event apparently was MVP defeating Damon Windsor to become the new IWR World Heavyweight Champion. I did not know IWR had a World Heavyweight Championship.
Wow. See, on Cage Match, it just says the Heavyweight Championship. So,
so maybe Wrestling Inc. was jumping the gun.
Maybe PWI hasn't yet recognized the Imperial Wrestling Revolution Heavyweight Championship.
Very true. And is IWR still up and running, to the best of your knowledge?
I have never heard of it. They are.
I didn't know if you could see on Cage Match if they still had shows.
They ran in Oklahoma and into Kansas and North Texas until 2022.
Oh, maybe they're just gonna have a comeback here soon.
Yeah. One would hope.
Now, we sure have stretched out this show this week, like we are prone to do. But that's I think we can wrap things up. What do you say?
Yeah. I think that would be acceptable.
They also apparently had a show called IWR Sold Out for Life.
Oh yeah, now apparently in 2018 it became WCR World Class Revolution.
Yes. We are really bored, I guess. But by the way, Kyote is still wrestling. I've recently done a job to Romeo Reese at a Texoma Pro Thompson Square Stampede event in Ardmore, Oklahoma.
Okay, y'all. Texoma Pro. We talked about Tiger King briefly. Did you watch Tiger King? That whole thing during. Okay, so but you know what it is. It was this documentary about these fucking crazy ass people with a white trash zoo in Oklahoma. So this guy, Joe Exotic, he had this really popular YouTube channel, and I don't know how deep the relationship went or what the nature of it was, but that promotion, Texoma Pro Wrestling, had a lot of shows on his YouTube channel. And he did commentary for some of them, and I actually did. I actually watched one of those shows. It was COVID, and there was nothing to do, whatever. And it was funny because, so the point of the show is that he ends up, he is in federal prison for a murder for hire plot against a woman, a rival weirdo tiger person named Carol Baskins. And it was so funny because even him doing fucking color commentary, and he doesn't know wrestling at all, which made it even funnier. Him doing commentary on this outlaw wrestling show, and he just randomly starts talking about this bitch Carol Baskin down in Florida. It was fucking wow.
You know how little I know about that whole situation? I thought Carol Baskin was his wife.
No.
Yep. So that tells you how much I really pay attention to all that.
No, neither of his drug-addled husbands were Carol Baskin, no.
Oh, he's gay?
He was in a gay throuple.
With a name like Joe Exotic, I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Oh, it's so fucking insane.
Anyway, before we keep diving into more 2020 Netflix documentaries, we're gonna call it a day here. What a big what's going on?
Unless something disastrous happens within the next 24 hours as we record this, by the time you listen to this, there will be a new Oh My God cast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to do it for this week's show. Go listen to the podcast for listening. We'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.